Be prepared for hyperinflation, food shortages, and economic collapse. The longer the people are stuck in their houses, the more the economy gets destroyed. And the more the food supply chain gets destroyed. Businesses now at risk of permanent shutdowns. The majority of service industry jobs are not coming back. Another 3 million Americans applied for unemployment last week. In 8 weeks, 36.5 million people have filed jobless claims. So much for that V-shaped recovery. They are setting us up. People are exhausting their entire unemployment benefits. The second wave of layoffs is coming, and the $600 is gone, and many won't even qualify. Everything is broken or will be broken in a few months. If the virus doesn't kill you, the government measures will kill you by taking your job, limiting your ability to work, limiting what you can eat and where you can travel to. The outlook is bleak at best, not due to the virus but due to the government's inactions and then the government's actions. Too many dollars chasing too few goods. Lockdown means little or no new production, and consuming what was stored as surplus. The Fed continues printing lots of dollars. We all start bidding together on the same scarce resources. All of this will result in hyperinflation. Half the country without income and no goods to buy while the Fed squanders trillions. Money being pumped in, the supply of goods is reduced. This can only result in hyperinflation. Production under quarantine is not elastic, so the money can only pump up prices. We saw this classically in Venezuela. It wasn't so much money printing that caused the issue, but growth in goods and services not matching the money printed. Here now we have the same. Goodbye financial system. This year would see an intentional effort to crash the financial system. No surer way to do it than set in motion hyperinflation. If nobody's producing, nobody's consuming. Inflation is looming. You can't increase the money supply by a third, decrease consumer goods, and not see inflation. Get ready to pay much more for groceries. The stock market is a scam. The lunatics are now totally in charge of the asylum. Stock market charts just show how happy the elites are getting bailed out again by corrupt Fed. If you invested in this insane market, you are just riding the inflation gravy train. The trend is your friend and doesn't fight the Fed. We are in a gigantic Ponzi scheme for the rich to get richer thanks to the Federal Reserve. We are just another banana republic. Just bigger, designed to keep the rich rich and in power. This is about bailing out the oligarchy that is currently running the show. Just throw out a couple of peanuts to the masses to make it look like it's for everyone. Total shit show, scam, Ponzi scheme. While the people suffer, the rich are getting richer at the expense of the taxpayers. The billionaires always get the lion's share of the bailout. The rich don't pay the tax. They defer to the upper middle class. Taxpayers are paying 50% and cannot get ahead. This is the Greatest Depression. Hope everyone is prepped and ready. Own your abode, gold, silver, stable coin, crypto. Stock up on essential supplies. Get out of stocks, bonds, government bonds. When hyperinflation comes, people will lose trust in the dollar, and the government will collapse. We don't have an economic crisis because of the health crisis. The economic crisis is a product of how we have chosen to react to the pandemic. The pandemic was just the perfect tool to hide the crimes committed by the Fed. Their goal is to destroy the middle class and small and medium businesses. The land of slaves and sheep run by banksters. Money printing is a hard habit to kick. Depressions are planned. Inflation is planned. Wars are planned. Workers and taxpayers exist to provide the monarchs all they desire. The central banks are privately owned and in business for personal profit only. They care only about increasing taxes, looting the treasury, rigging the markets, robbing the pensions, etc. This depression will be horrific beyond belief, and we are already in an extremely depressed state. If you are really looking forward to widespread looting out of control, then I do hope you are ready and totally prepped with years of food supplies. Crops harvests are disappearing already in a bad way. This is it, global one world tyranny behind the mask of a virus. Notice the word mask. It's here, planned economic destruction. A country that consumes much more than it produces, financed by ongoing money creation, will have more money chasing fewer goods and services. Once the initial shock wears off and the recovery begins, the inflation will begin to show up, and it probably won't be limited to the share prices of money-losing, storied stocks. Trumps have been trying to starve the Chinese with the soy deal, and most of their pigs died. Similar situation with locusts appearing over most of the Middle East and East Africa. Forest fires wiped out a lot of Australian livestock. People often forget that grain is a commodity on major exchanges, though mostly irreverent in the age of QE and ZIRP. Globally, food prices will rise, and wages will decrease, meaning more food insecurity. The real killers are if environmentalists try to cut down on farming by letting the land they still control through trusts lay fallow. The population control agenda was always best fulfilled by famines, disease, sterility, and abortion. Royals may try and bank on royal land ownership by artificially increasing food costs.